Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Hotsport. Again, just like in my tears video, I'm not going to take as long as I did in my tears video because that was a very, not if I say so myself, a very powerful monologue that I gave on Anton's tears. But I do want to take time out of every one of my videos today to acknowledge the people who lost their lives last week at Bondi. Of course, something very personal to me. And the main message that I want to send across is it's the holiday season. I think every single religion has the right to celebrate. I think everyone should be celebrating, enjoying the holidays, whether it's Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever holiday you celebrate. I think it all should be respected, and it all should be, at least respected by everybody around. And for people to be able to not be allowed in a country like Australia to go out and have a Hanukkah celebration. Here's my Hanukkah. This one I wore gloves because the last time I did it, this little ash, the black marks got on my fingers. Yes, to show you. Yeah. So the fact that you're not allowed to have a public Hanukkah celebration in this country, that we all talk about free speech and equal opportunity and multiculturalism. For that to be a breeding ground for blood, for killing and shooting in a country where firearms are illegal is disgusting. The man who did so, shame on them. I don't have words for them that's appropriate. But yeah, my thoughts are with the families of all the victims. And yeah, I'll read them out to you quickly without kind of like who they are. Just the quick list for everybody. One more, and then we will continue with the show. And my thoughts are with and wishes are with the families of the affected, of the victims: Matilda, Edith Brutman, Alex Clayton, Peter Meager, Reuben Morrison, Rabbi Eli Schleger, Rabbi Yaakov Levitan, Marika Pagani, Tibor Weitzman, Dan Elakayam, and then there are, of course, the extra added ones: Boris and Sophia Gurman, and Adam Smythe and Tania Trediak. May all you guys' memories be for a blessing. But now, guys, it's now time for Under Pressure, guys. Excuse me. All right, guys, it's now time to talk some football again. Let me change my background now back to the standard background we do for these shows. The Bondi background, of course, was as part of a tribute to those who lost their lives last Sunday. Make sure you're hitting the like button. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're hitting the QR code after this video. I just learned, by the way, it's because I'm not monetized. I actually can't do a raid on my other channel. So I will just be putting the link to that live stream at the end of this video as a recommended video. Go and check that out. That'll be at 10 a.m. UK time, which is in about over an hour from when I'm filming right now. So go check that out. We're going to try to smash out Under Pressure before we get there. All right, guys, first one on the list, and it's Enzo Maresca. And you guys can be like, wow, they won last week, shouldn't he be taken off the list? Yeah, well, he's on the list this week for very different reasons. And this, again, I hate this. You saw what my take on Antoine Semenyo. I actually hate this, and I love David Ornstein. We're talking about Jews. he's my fellow Jew, and he's the best in the business, like massive respect. But I hate stories like this. We're in the middle of a season. He's managing a rival club, managing Chelsea, and this tweet has to come out now. Now the thing is with David, I'll give him his props for this. Or if he didn't do it, Fabrizio would have done it, or Ben Jacobs would have done it. It's a competitive business, so someone's gonna do it. That piece of information is gonna come out there, I don't know who leaked it. Whoever leaked it is the one, the real one for me, who I'm annoyed with anyway. But this is the tweet. Enzo Maresca is high among candidates Manchester City are considering in case Pep Guardiola exits next summer. Manchester City are advancing on contingency work for a possibility of a manager change. The 45-year-old Chelsea coach is prominent alongside other potential options. So there are many things going on here, which includes, by the way, the potential of a Pep Guardiola going to retirement. I don't know what we're trying to say here necessarily. But the bigger issue here, this is the one for me, because I don't want to take too long on these today. I just don't. And okay, because I want to make my main meat about the player in this video, because I don't feel like I gave him enough time last week. But yeah, look, he's managing Chelsea, and for the Chelsea fans already, you're seeing like, oh wait, bro, we're Chelsea, we're big, we're potentially a bigger club than City. But we're on 6i yesterday, and Terry was bringing it up. Actually, both have 36 total trophies in the history of their clubs, and for me, Chelsea got a bigger global fan base, and we get it. Maresca, he used to coach at City, was under Pep. But from a Chelsea perspective, it's like you're managing here and now. What? So we're ready? I know these Chelsea fans. They're impatient with managers as it is, and I think this is the one guy that the majority of them have actually backed and really shown their patience and believed in his project. But if things don't start to go well, if things start going south for Chelsea, people are just gonna be like, you know what, F off, go to City. And I don't know. I think it's disrespectful that whoever at Man City has leaked that information. I think it's undermining. Again, the type of club that I think Man City is. They don't really care. And from Maresca, I guess you can say what you want. Like, he wants to make that opportunity. I don't think he's thinking about it right now, as he said in his press conference. I don't think he is thinking about that right now. This is another team that has put him on the list, but now this list has been leaked. So now it's going to put him inevitably under pressure. And for me, that's just kind of all I have to say on this. Actually, I do actually have a clip to play. Something else to say about this. Yeah, who's this gentleman here? I'm sitting 2 spots away from Terry Flores. Huh. Wait, that's me. Yeah, this is my take when I was asked the question about if it would be a good opportunity for Maresca to take the job at Manchester City. We'll play this, what I have to say here, and then we're going to move on to our main topic of the day. Let's go. Could I come at this with a different angle, Tal?
Yeah.
I do think it'd be a good move for him, like, ideally. I think in reality, I don't know how it would work out, just simply because of the fact that the standards are so high under Pep Guardiola. The fan base is so used to such a high standard of management. Like the champion, like the amount of titles that they have won, there's huge pressure to deliver at Man City that there is not at Chelsea. And if Maresca were to fall anywhere below that standard, I don't know how long he would actually last in that job. Like, there are a lot of great managers who've taken over after the great ones. I mean, everybody tells me how good Unai Emery is as a coach, but he followed Wenger and couldn't last a year and a half in the job before we said, sayonara, son. Like, it's not easy. And I can understand him looking at it as a career move, like, hey, I get to go to City, all the finances are there for me, and the players are better. But I just think, in reality, I don't know if it would play out that well. That's just kind of me thinking it from the other side.
That's not a reason for him not.
Right, before the next guest chimes in here on the panel, that was kind of all I wanted to say on the topic from my side. So yeah, it's kind of how I feel. I just feel like I don't know. I don't think it's a move that necessarily makes sense for him right now in his career. He's got a club who's giving him all the patience. And I think they do give him what he needs. I mean, they got a project that's working, and it started to really work and started to take shape since he's been the manager there. So if he were to get the job at City, I would say yes. It would have been well earned in some respects, but yeah. But I just think that at this moment in time, it just puts him under pressure. That's all I can say. Anyway, let's move on, because I'm actually going to play another clip. And this was from a press conference yesterday of Mikel Arteta. So I think you know where I'm going with. There are various questions. This is the first one, and the fact this gets questioned, this question comes up in this press conference in this week with this topic, kind of boils my blood, but I think he did a decent job in answering some of these questions.
And up front, the Cameroons used to primarily, I guess, when injuries sort of left you short of other options. At the moment, you do have more options, look at back and Gabby. Even with them fit, you still sort of see Mikel as an option to start off on ahead.
Yeah, he sets an option. I think he's giving us every reason as well to consider him in a really serious way. You look at the goals that he scored and the importance of those goals. I think he needs to be right up.
And with, I guess, Victor still adapting, is Mikel almost maybe a more natural fit for the team?
I don't know if this is the word, but he's a player that has done a job with his qualities, and in the games that we demanded these qualities. Victor brings many other different ones, and it's great that we can have those. And now Gabi as well, which he came in the last 2 games and made an impact in the game.
And that, of course, the man on this list, and that brings me to this. Victor GYOKERES, and we're going to discuss it because he's under pressure. There's no doubt. Last week, you had the Mo Salah thing going on. I think that sort of just moved its way to the backstage as Salah departs for the AFCON. Now it's time to talk about my man who I've defended publicly on all platforms for the last 2 weeks, Victor GYOKERES. The sentiments that here, I gotta say, annoy me. And yes, he's under pressure. And I've had many discussions with many of Arsenal fans that I know. I've created a close brotherhood with the Arsenal content creators, especially the up-and-coming ones. You guys know who I am. I have them on my shows all the time. And the patience is growing. The discussion for me is ridiculous. I feel like he hasn't even had time really to breathe since he's come back from injury, and everybody pounced, and they're judging every touch, every single movement, everything that's going on with Victor GYOKERES. And now, questions are being asked like, hey, is Merino, do you want to start Merino up front this weekend against Everton? And one thing I liked about Mikel Arteta, and we're going to get to more of what Mikel had to say later on in this segment, is he's certainly an option, because obviously Mikel Merino as his player is not going to be like, well, no way, Victor's our guy, there's no chance of Mikel Merino, because of course it's a meritocracy. Like, if Merino is the one that's on better form, there is a shout for Merino to play there. But again, there's also other things going on, like for instance, there's an injury doubt this week potentially for Martin Zubimendi. So if that's the case, I'd probably rather have Merino start in the midfield next to Rice. We'd have to see. But the fact that, Mikel says it, and he says it in one part, which is like, you got many different options that are available that I'll play there. You've got JP Jesus who can chip in and come in to the games, as you've seen. So Victor needs to start firing. As much as I've defended him, he needs to start firing if he wants to keep his spot in the team. Because at the end of the day, of all the defense that I'm going to put up, I still think it's a crucial right now for Victor, sooner rather than later, to score. It's really unfair because he's come back from his injury. He kind of missed that time, and Moreno kind of took it from him because he was injured. To be able to, really take a full 2 hands grasp of this position of the first choice striker, which, by the way, he should be. He was bought to be the solution. But, there are, narratives that come up. And wait, do I have... Yeah. So, actually, in fact, there was a former Arsenal player. Did I delete? my other video. 1 second. I think I deleted the other one that I was going to be sharing, which is very annoying. I accidentally just exited out. So I will bring that up to the screen back eventually again. But let's not bring up this one. And former Arsenal striker, they had a little segment here on Monday Night Football. Former Arsenal striker Olivier Giroud, who, by the way, he himself was a striker at Arsenal under much scrutiny. He comes out, they ask him questions about Victor Gyökeres. The whole segment, it's about 4 minutes. Let's listen into kind of like what they had to say. They brought up the kind of like unpacked the whole thing, which is why I kind of like wanted to take most of the time to talk about Gyökeres, that I can kind of play you some of these main clips and talking points, and we just can discuss it. So here goes Olivier Giroud. This is what he had to say when he was questioned on it by Jamie Carragher. And forgive me the name of the host of Monday Night Football. I forget his name, but Jamie Carragher as well on here.
There was the talk even then about whether Arsenal had the striker who was going to score the goals to take them to the title. Even when you were playing Olivier, they've spent a lot of money on Victor Gyökeres in the hope that he's going to fill that gap for them and be the man to take them onwards to the title. He was in action against Wolves at the weekend. What have you made of him so far in an Arsenal shirt?
I like his quality, his characteristic. He's strong, he can turn and finish. I think, we just need to give him a bit of time, and he's got everything a good striker require for the top level, and he needs more game time and confidence, and I think Mikel Arteta gonna give him.
Mikel Arteta certainly has options now, growing. 4 possibilities really, with the return of Gabriel Jesus, who we've seen in the last couple of games, and also Kai Havertz, who we think is getting closer, maybe from the start of 2026, who's only a couple of weeks away. And this is what they have contributed in the Premier League since the start of last season, these 4 different options, with their minutes per goal and assist across the bottom. And that tells us that Merino is probably the most efficient so far, and Gyökeres the least efficient. Is there one here that you think Mikel Arteta will turn to that is going to deliver the title for them this season?
Mikel Arteta is a lucky manager to have these 4 players up front. Competition is good for the squad. I will say Gabriel Jesus coming back after a long injury, so we need to give him more time. Kai Havertz, more or less the same. Merino is doing a good job also up front, even if he's not a proper number 9. And I want to see as still a number 9. I want to see Gyökeres succeed in that team. I think he can improve, but he has everything. One more time, a top striker demands to the top level.
Get in there, Olivier. Na 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 Giroud. Hey, leave it to a former Arsenal striker with a very nice French accent. That's right, there are a few of them across history. Come out and give you a good balanced take on strikers. So what he's not done in this argument is insult any of his now predecessors, Havertz, Merino, Gyökeres, or Jesus. He's giving you a reason across all the qualities that all of them bring to the table, that he's saying that we've got a lot of good options that there are there, and that I think is the correct statement in this argument, which is like they all can provide you different things at different times, but we don't need to be pitting them against each other. They will all get their chances at different times in the season to provide to the team in a way that the game plan or the matches or the opponents will need for them to, like, the right weapon at the right times. But yeah, he says that Victor Gyökeres has got to be your main guy, and he's got to be your main guy. And, you know, I think Olivier, that's my take, what Olivier said. I'm just going to refer to Olivier because I think that's it. It's a right, balanced take. He's not sitting there, you know, having to argue and debate. Now, Jamie Carragher is going to go in here and, you know, do Jamie Carragher things, which is why I'm not going to give him any airtime on my show right now. But yeah, I just thought what Olivier said right there is exactly the argument that you have to take. Here's another former striker, but no, not Arsenal, former Arsenal striker, actually former Spurs striker, but big Arsenal fan. And look, again, this video is at 11 minutes, so again, I'm going to try to give you as much as I can about what he had to say in talking about the situation with Gyökeres and how he feels about how Gyökeres has done so far in his time at the Gunners.
Listen, for Gyökeres,
You've been poor, hasn't he?
this is the thing, right? In 2023, at the end of 2023, 22-23 was his last season at Coventry in the Championship, right? He scored 22 in all comps, right? 21 in the league. I thought he was decent. I thought that season, he was really, probably the best in that division. Even though I think Akpom won the Golden Boot that year, I thought he was the best, right? He then, almost overnight, turns himself into an absolute superstar by scoring 43 his first season in all comps in 50 games for Sporting, and then 54 goals in 52. Right, that is so. It
don't matter where you are, though. That's nuts.
Nuts, right?
Yeah.
So he's coming to Arsenal like hot, full of confidence, right? But he's going to a huge side. Now, not only is he going to a massive side in Arsenal, he's going to a side where a lot of people have spoke about a centre forward at Arsenal for a long time, and then he has been identified as the one that's going to get you over the line. That's big pressure. So it's almost like all the other bits are in place. All we need is a centre forward. We think you're the guy that is going to do it. So, yeah, 60 million, here we come. And that's big pressure for him. And I always think when you make big moves, and it's happened to me, not this big, but big moves, you have to hit the ground running.
Pro Rata is probably the same.
Yeah, but you have to hit the ground running. Because then you give yourself a chance.
He did start off okay, didn't he?
Yeah, but that's okay. Honestly, any
He doesn't look competent, does he, at Arsenal?
do you know what it is?
He's a little bit clumsy.
He looks a bit clunky, right? But also, Arsenal are not used to playing with this type of centre forward for such a long time now. We've had Havertz,
Yeah.
completely different to him. Gabriel Jesus is a striker, but spends most of his time on the left.
Yeah.
Arsenal haven't played with a number 9 like this for a long time, so he's still trying to adapt to the way that he wants to play.
So you're suggesting that your number 9s recently have been footballers rather than
Out and out, yeah, of course I have.
Rather than goal scorers.
Havertz a fantastic footballer. Touch, he is, mate. Touch,
That's not fantastic.
mate, he is, mate.
Not
Touch,
fantastic.
As a footballer,
Declan Rice is
no,
fantastic.
as a footballer, he is. Like Havertz, his touch is nice. He's good in the air. He can hold the ball up. He's quicker than people think. In terms of all round, he's a good footballer. That's fair.
Yeah,
Right. Like Gyökeres is an out and out centre forward, right? But I just think right now it's not working for him. Like his movement's not quite there. And there's a prime example. If I'm going for a bit of a barren run, who do I want to rock up at my home patch? The worst team in the league, and that's Wolves. And Saka put one across the box, right? Which was, for a striker, there's no excuses. You have to be there. Like, and he rolled it across the box, 6-yard box, didn't pull it in. So I think he's struggling. I think he's struggling to cope with the levels.
Do you think he'll get there?
I hope so.
No, I know that you hope. Do you think he will?
Time will tell. I mean, if he
Do you think he will?
yeah, but if he scores 5 and 5, then I think he will.
I know, but sometimes you can, like, for argument's sake, we'll talk about Ekatike. We'll talk about Isak in a minute. If I said to you, do you think he'll get there? You'll probably say, yes, I do.
Yeah, I think he will.
Do you think Gyökeres will get there?
Eventually, I think he will, but it might take him a bit of time.
Okay.
Right? But he needs to do more now in terms of holding the ball up, his physicality, use that big frame that he's got, get yourself in the box, be a threat, be a nuisance. So I think he's found it really tough. I then go to Isak. Now, Isak, for 2 years or 3 years at Newcastle, 2.5 years at Newcastle, has looked like one of the best centre forwards on the planet, right? And rightly so.
Well, I'm glad that Bentley brought Isak into the conversation because I think it really gives you some good context.
His numbers would probably back that up because he has been. There were times at Newcastle where he was just the difference, wasn't he? Everything that he done, he was that good. I'm just wondering, and I think he will come good as well, if Liverpool's a bit too big for him. Now, that might sound crazy right now because we know he's a good footballer, but he just doesn't look the same. Like, it doesn't look the same in terms of his runs, his touch, his movement, his belief. Because every single time he stepped on the pitch at Newcastle, I thought, here we go, goal.
But he would have thought that as well.
He would have thought that.
Now he doesn't and we don't. That's
right.
the difference.
But where I've got a bit of sympathy for him is that he's got to Liverpool late. He's obviously had no pre-season.
Yeah, it was a bit.
But also as well, they've bought someone else for less money, but still big money, that's got there before you. And not only has he got there before you, he's putting the ball in the back of the net, regular. Undroppable.
Yeah.
To a point.
Agree.
So you're always playing catch-ups, but I think he will become good, but he's struggling. Then the others, I mean...
Sesko?
Yeah, Sesko again. Like,
I think I'm just going to cut it off because I don't have ages to film this video. And I want to get back to some of what Arteta had to say to close off this segment. And then I'll just kind of give my last little bit of takes and, you know, how I feel on this. Because at the end of the day, we have to... I think I've done enough defending of it. I think this is more this talking about the elephant in the room, that he is under pressure, that he does need to start banging. Because these conversations keep talking, oh, you know, is he not really a fit at Arsenal? You know, and I think Benty is fair and a lot what he's saying. I think it comes from a place of love. By the way, the title of the video is it's not working for him in terms of Victor Gyökeres, but I still think it will work overall. And again, yeah, the expectation to fire, the expectations of me to fire. He is not by any means met expectations whatsoever, Victor. So yeah, that's just kind of what I have to say. But let's take a listen to Arteta one more time. He gets asked a question by my man Harry Symeou. By the way, go subscribe to him. Chronicles of a Gooner as well. Just love giving love to all my Gooners around. But he asks a question, you know, like who he thinks, how he kind of determines who starts up front for the Arsenal.
Hi, Mikel. When you've got all your forwards fit, you've got lots of options at the moment, which means I'd imagine you've got more headaches in terms of selection. So what's the process in terms of picking who plays for which game? Is it about the opposition? Is it about, you know, who's ready? How do you kind of come to the decision then?
So far we're in December. My headaches have come with having no options in the front line and not options in the back line. That's a headache. I haven't had headaches the other way around. I hope that I do. It won't be headaches. It will be difficult decisions, but they're gonna make the team better. The headaches are when you have to make decisions that you know you're making the team weaker, or you cannot make decisions because you're going to expose all the players or players that if you give them too much game time, probably they're going to get injured as well. So that's the headaches.
And just going back to Kai very quickly, is there a game that you have in mind that you're hoping for him to be part of the squad for?
I do. I don't want to say it because, again, I think in that last part of, especially after such a long time.
This is just a little bit of an update on Kai Havertz, because again, I don't understand because how Harry kind of like throws this one in before he gets into his big question on Victor Gyökeres, which is coming up, which, by the way, Arteta does an eloquent job in kind of in his answer, which I loved. But yeah, it's just more like the really kind of like, all right, Kai's around the corner. Everyone's kind of waiting for Kai as some sort of savior, which I just don't agree with. But anyway, we'll let Arteta finish this, and then the big question coming from Harry Symeou, I believe it was Harry Symeou who asked him about Victor's first few months of the club and his assessment.
That part of the rehab, I think we need to be cautious and we need to go really firm with every step that we take along the way to make sure that when he's back and he's back for the long term.
Hi, Mikel. There's a lot of focus on Victor.
Wasn't Harry.
Saturday. Just in general, just to start, can I just ask you to assess his first few months of the club? How would you evaluate that?
Well, I think the level of attention on him, it hasn't changed since he signed to today. He's normal. You know, everybody was so excited to bring a 9 into the club. We did it. We brought a player with an incredible goal scoring record that had to adapt to the league. He had no preseason. The first few weeks was difficult because physically he wasn't in his best state, and he's a player that needs that like any other player in this league almost to perform at that level. Then he kicked on. I think he had a really good period and got injured. And now he's back to his bed. I saw a lot of positive things in the last 2 games that he's done. We need to continue to tweak and understand him a little bit better in certain situations, and he needs to do the same. But that's about time, and we have full support for him.
Big up Arteta. That was very truthful, and he gave some great points.
Almost before day one, you didn't have that on it. Do you think that's taken him a little bit by surprise, just the level of focus?
I don't know. At the end, you have to experience it. You can imagine the global impact that you're going to have to deal with when you come to a big club, and the expectation as it is. But after, you have to live it, and living it is always slightly different to your imagination. But he's doing it with a lot of desire. I think his energy level, his commitment, it's absolutely top. And we are here all to help him, because we all been here. We all need time. There is always moments, and the strikers have moments. They score more goals, less goals, and we need to be there for him.
So there you have it. Mikel Arteta, I think properly, explains to you what's been going on with GYOKERES. I think a lot of the bad looks on him at the beginning was Bailey because, he didn't get a proper preseason. So he's looking a lot more clunky and a lot less sharp in the first few games. And again, that puts him a little bit on the back foot. Then all of a sudden, he starts to get into his stride. He starts to create and figure out an understanding with some of his teammates. He gets 3 goals in 3 games, and then he gets injured. Then the offense has to kind of relearn how to play with Mikel Merino. Then all of a sudden, he comes back, fit to play, comes off the bench. By the way, I think he makes an impact in all of his bench appearances. And then he gets 2 starts, and nobody gave him room to breathe. For me, I think it's ridiculous, but to be honest, this conversation is going to keep on going. The disrespect's going to keep on coming unless he puts the ball at the back of the net, and he's going to start doing it. But I love, shout out to Mikel Arteta. He's thrown his full belief behind the player, and he basically says, we're still having to try to understand him. We're having to put an effort out to do that, and as well as he's going to have to put in an effort to understand his teammates. And he's going to come good. He thinks that from the second half of the season. He says this quote was in there, but it wasn't. He didn't come much up on the video. He goes on if we'll see another level from him in the second half of the season. I think so. Yes, was the answer from Mikel Arteta, and there you go. And I agree with that fully. So yeah, get yourself off this list, fella, and finally score some goals for Arsenal and look like the Victor GYOKERES I know you can be. But he's not the only one under pressure. The Arsenal's under pressure because the Sharks are circling at the moment, guys. City are doing a lot better than I thought. They've caught up with us a lot quicker than I thought. And the pressure is on us to win. Win. We've had a week off. We're going to go to Everton, to Goodison Park. We were bad last week against Wolves. We scraped there with a victory. We couldn't even score a goal. Both of our goals were own goals. One which was like a corner from Saka, which comes off the keeper's back, after deflecting from the post and off the keeper's back and in. And the other one, I thought originally was a Jesus goal, but it was actually a Mascara, not Christian Mascara, Yerzon Mascara, who put it in his own net. So we didn't actually score a goal in that game against Wolves. The performances just aren't there, and we just got to hold on at the moment. We're kind of just Arsenal are just holding on to first place, as it says on my thumbnail. Like, yeah, we got to get together. I want a big performance against Everton. We'll discuss this again more on Fire Than Cannons this evening, and you're gonna get Cal's take on it. You're gonna get my special guest's take on this, and yeah, guys, we've had a week off. The away performances haven't been good, and I've given everybody an excuse. Don't make me look like a fool. Go out, show that with a full week's rest that we are a great away performer as a side. And that's just, again, there's a potential, by the way. I want to say before I wrap this up, if City beat West Ham, we actually go second in the league before we kick off at Hill Dickinson Stadium. Did I say Goodison earlier? I don't know if I did. At Hill Dickinson Stadium. We could be behind in the league. City could go ahead in front of us. So we got to go ahead and draw those 3 points and get back to the top. Get back to the top. I said one of my big calls, which so far has been good, which is I don't think Arsenal's going to fall to second at the end of a match week for the rest of the season, is on the line now. Don't make me look bad. I have defended you guys. I have given you guys, I have, everybody watches the show, everybody watches the Terrace, everybody watches Fire Them Cannons, know that I've had you guys' back. Let's repay that for me this weekend, please, boys. And anyway, guys, we have been 35 minutes in this video, guys. Again, this video will make sure you'll see in the recommended videos after this. We are going live at 10 a.m. UK time. Me, Cal, special guest on Fire Them Cannons. We are going to preview the Everton game. And until then, guys, we're also going to have Upset Alert. We didn't have it last week. I'm going to try to get it again this week. All the graphics are ready to go for that, so hopefully we can get that out before we start the live. So until next time, guys, until now.